Canadians are facing the biggest crisis of their lifetimes because of Donald Trump tariffs.
Check one, check.
Canadians are facing the biggest crisis of their lifetimes, Mark Carney has warned. But the Prime Minister also pledged one economy as he set out plans to counter 25% tariffs put in place by the U.S. President. "We can give ourselves far more than Donald Trump can ever take away," he said during an English-language federal election debate in Montreal. Mr. Carney, who took over from Justin Trudeau and has been in office for little over a month, said he would reduce red tape for internal domestic trade for Canadian businesses. Canada has long had trade barriers between provinces, but the former governor of the Bank of England said he would try to implement free trade within the country's 10 provinces and 3 territories by the 1st of July, if re-elected on the 28th of April. If his Liberal Party wins the election, he plans to begin trade talks with the Trump administration immediately. But the situation is serious, he said as he debated fellow party leaders. "We are facing the biggest crisis of our lifetimes," Mr. Carney said in his closing statement. "Donald Trump is trying to fundamentally change the world economy, the trading system, but really, he's trying to break us so the U.S. can own us. They want our land, they want our resources, they want our water, they want our country. I am ready and I have managed crises over the years. We will fight back with counter tariffs and we will protect our workers." The U.S. President's trade war and talk of making Canada the 51st U.S. state have bolstered Liberal poll numbers. In a survey in mid-January, the Liberals trailed the Conservative Party by 47% to 20%, but in a poll released on Thursday, the Liberals led by 5 percentage points.
Check one, check.
Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is also vowing to cut red tape, as well as repealing anti-energy laws and high taxes.
Check one, check.
He had been hoping to make the election a referendum on former leader Justin Trudeau, whose popularity declined towards the end of his decade in power after food and housing prices rose sharply and immigration surged. But Mr. Carney pointed out that things had changed. "Mr. Poilievre, you spent years running against Justin Trudeau and the carbon tax, and they are both gone," he said. "I am a very different person than Justin Trudeau."
Check one, check.
Mr. Poilievre accused the Liberals of being hostile towards Canada's energy sector and pipelines.
Check one, check.
"We can't afford a 4th Liberal term of rising housing costs," he commented. During Wednesday's French-language leaders' debate in Montreal, Mr. Carney reminded the nation he has only been Prime Minister for a short time. "We need change. You do not embody change," Mr. Poilievre said to Mr. Carney. Bloc Quebecois leader Yves François Blanche, whose party is losing support to Mr. Carney's Liberals in Quebec, agreed, saying the Liberals are the same party, the same ministers, and the same politicians, and a new leader does not change that. Canada's Prime Minister says removing trade barriers with other countries will be far more beneficial than Trump's tariffs could ever hope to be. Prime Minister Mark Carney said, Thursday, eliminating trade barriers within Canada would benefit Canadians far more than U.S. President Donald Trump can ever take away with his trade war, as he made his case to retain power at the last debate ahead of the April 28th vote. Carney has set a goal of free trade within the country's 10 provinces and 3 territories by July 1st. Canada has long had interprovincial trade barriers. "We can give ourselves far more than Donald Trump can ever take away," Carney said. "We can have one economy. This is within our grasp." Carney said the relationship Canada has had with the U.S. for the past 40 years has fundamentally changed because of Trump's tariffs. If re-elected, Carney plans to immediately enter into trade talks with the Trump administration. "We are facing the biggest crisis of our lifetimes. Donald Trump is trying to fundamentally change the world economy, the trading system, but really, he's trying to break us so the U.S. can own us. They want our land, they want our resources, they want our water, they want our country," Carney said in his closing statement. I am ready, and I have managed crises over the years. We will fight back with counter-tariffs, and we will protect our workers. Trump's trade war and threats to make Canada the 51st state have infuriated Canadians and led to a surge in Canadian nationalism that has bolstered Liberal Party poll numbers.
Check one, check.
Opposition Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre is imploring Canadians not to give the Liberals a fourth term. He hoped to make the election a referendum on Justin Trudeau, whose popularity declined toward the end of his decade in power as food and housing prices rose and immigration surged. But Trump attacked, Trudeau resigned, and Carney, a two-time central banker, became Liberal Party leader and Prime Minister last month after a party leadership race.
Check one, check.
It may be difficult, Mr. Poilievre. You spent years running against Justin Trudeau and the carbon tax, and they are both gone, Carney said. I am a very different person than Justin Trudeau. Public opinion has changed. In a mid-January poll by Nanos, Liberals trailed the Conservative Party by 47% to 20%. In the latest Nanos poll released Thursday, the Liberals led by 5 percentage points. The January poll had a margin of error of 3.1 points, while the latest poll had a 2.7-point margin. We can't afford a fourth Liberal term of rising housing costs, Poilievre said.
Check one, check.
Poilievre accused Carney's Liberals of being hostile toward Canada's energy sector and pipelines. He accused the Liberals of weakening the economy and vowed that a Conservative government would repeal anti-energy laws, red tape, and high taxes. We need a change, and you, sir, are not a change, Poilievre said in one exchange.